What's up, everybody? It's Old Man Winter 8, and I'm about to show you the new FASE system, which you're probably starting to see in a few bindings, and you're seeing it popping up a little bit on social media. And I can tell you right now, I have not been this excited about a binding technology since Forum introduced the Shaka base plates way back when. I don't even remember when that was. But ever since I saw this system, I was super intrigued. And once I actually got to see it in person and really kind of check it out and see how it worked and all the little ins and outs of it, I was super pumped. I literally see zero downsides to this thing, and everything about the whole system itself actually makes sense. I really do think that this is going to change strap bindings for the future. And you'll notice that I didn't say StepIn. So the biggest misconception about this is that it's a StepIn binding, and people are comparing it to other StepIn bindings or rear entry bindings on the market. But that is the biggest difference about these, is that compared to all of those, even the rear entries where you're still flipping the thing up and you got the straps on it, you are still ratcheting yourself in every single time. These are just way easier to actually get your foot in and out of than a standard strap binding. So why this is important is that if you ever notice, especially when you're riding a standard strap binding, is that you put your boots on, you lace them up, and you start going riding, and then you ratchet your straps down. But throughout the day, you end up clicking them a little bit tighter. And this is because every day you ride, your boot packs in a little bit. Once you get that thing laced up, it feels great, but it does start to pack in, and it does start to tighten up a little bit around your foot with your straps, and you are able to ratchet it a little bit tighter as the day goes on. Also, this gives you a chance to kind of fine tune your straps. Some people might like to have their straps snug for certain reasons, and then other reasons when they're riding, maybe if they're going a little bit faster and harder, they might want to crank them down super tight. So this really does give you that on-the-fly adjustment that's very easy to do, but still being able to get in and out of the binding easily, no matter how tight you had your straps the run before. And then of course, being a standard 2-strap binding, the other benefit is you can use any boot you want on this thing to really find that one pair of boots that fits you properly, no matter what company, no matter what kind of lacing system it has, and they're going to work in these bindings. So when you start looking at the pieces and parts, this thing adjusts exactly like a regular binding. You still can adjust your forward lean. The straps still adjust with a little flip lock on the side here. You can move them forward and backward depending on the company. But in general, you do get this thing adjusted exactly like a regular binding. You get your straps centered up on your foot when the thing is snug. The only thing that's a little bit different is that the toe piece on this one, you don't have to get this one super snug. You basically just have to get this thing to a point where it ratchets and it's grabbing your boot and it's not sliding up and down. And then once you have all of that adjusted, the really cool thing is all you have to do is slide the toe of your boot underneath the ankle strap up to your toe strap, and then you stand down on your heel, and then you push the strap down and ratchet it snug, and you're ready to ride. And then to get out, you just undo the ratchet strap like you usually do until it stops, and then you pick your heel up, and that high back kick back a little bit, you can slide your foot out nice and easy. So the system itself is really just 3 parts that have been added to a standard strap binding. We have this ladder. The only difference between this ladder and the ladder on any regular strap binding is that it is longer. And then also towards the top, it doesn't have any teeth, and there is a little bit of a stop at the end of it. So you'll notice I can pop this thing out, but it does have a stopper to kind of stop it from releasing really easy. And that's the thing, is you don't want it to release really easy. You basically want to have this binding so when you pop this thing loose, it gets to a point where it stays open, it's nice and big, and you've got a nice big area to get your foot in. And then once your foot is in, the reason they don't have any ratchets up here, any teeth up here on the top part of the strap, is they want you to be able to slide it down nice and easy to get it to that point where you hit those ratchets, and then you give it a couple clicks and you're ready to ride. And then when we go to the back of the binding, we have this little spring-loaded heel lever in the back, and then there's also a little pin on the back of the high back that locks into that lever. So starting on that heel lever, that thing is, again, just spring-loaded, and this is designed to engage the high back. It's designed to take the high back from that laid back position and get it to a fully upright position where it's sitting nice and comfortably against your boot. The other nice thing about this is that this spring has some good tension on it. It's not crazy strong. As you can see, I can just move it with 2 fingers, no problem, but it actually does put a little bit of pressure on your boot and help lock it in and really snug it up a little bit extra against that toe strap. And then the little pin piece on the high back, that locks into that heel lever, and that's designed, again, so the high back can get pulled forward and backward as your boot goes in and out of the binding. So the really cool thing about this is is if your foot is inside the binding, this cannot go back. The high back is locked in an upright position. The other nice thing is that that piece, that pin that kind of locks into the heel lever, it sits on top of the heel lever too. So when your boot is in there and this is fully engaged and you lean back on your high back, it's just like a standard forward lean adjuster. It's pushing down on that lever, which is part of your heel loop, and it's giving you all the performance of a standard binding with a high back and heel loop. And then the way that they've designed that whole system too, it does pop loose if you want to fold your high backs forward. So you can click it out, fold your high backs down when you need to have them folded down. And then when you flip this thing back up, you don't actually have to re-engage it. The next time you put your boot into the binding and your heel engages that lever, that automatically clicks it into place and it's ready to ride. So just like a standard strap binding, you still have your heel loop and your high back, you still have that forward lean adjustment, and it literally rides exactly like a binding that doesn't have the FASE system. Now by adding this FASE system, I think one of the coolest things is that there's only one extra moving part in this entire binding. The pin that's on the back of the high back, that is just a solid piece that's mounted to the high back. It's just the heel lever in the back here, and it's just a spring-loaded lever. This thing is not actually what holds you in the binding. It's literally just there to move the high back out of the way. And the way that it's in there is basically just a pin with a spring on it that's kind of like a super huge beefed up version of the exact same pin and springs that we have in ratchets to keep them to snap back. And then on top of that, for all you naysayers out there who are still scratching your head at this thing, they have been working on this system for I think over 5 years now, and there is a lifetime warranty on the FASE system itself. So not only is this thing super, super durable, and now that we know exactly how it works, the benefits of this thing are exponential. If you're getting into the binding, it's over twice as fast as it is to get into a regular strap binding for 3 reasons. 1, we don't have to ratchet the toe strap. It's already set and it's already ready to go. 2, when you go to get into the binding, there's no chance of stepping on the straps. Basically with a regular strap binding, a lot of companies do have things to help hold them open, but every once in a while when you go to get in, you kick it, it goes in the way, you end up stepping on the straps, you're constantly trying to move them out of the way to get your foot in. Well, that doesn't have to happen. And 3, you never have to line up your ladder strap with your ratchet. Those things are already engaged the entire time. This thing is insanely easy, and you can do it when you're moving, and most importantly, you never have to touch the binding with more than one hand. All you have to do is in, push, ratchet. So I've been riding these 32 team bindings for the last few weeks, and I'll have to say that performance-wise, compared to regular straps, you don't feel any difference. Obviously, the ladder strap, that's doing the exact same job that any ladder strap would do. And when this thing is fully engaged and it's just sitting on top of that, it literally just feels like you have a high back with a forward lean adjuster sitting on your heel loop. And you really are getting the exact same performance that you do from a standard strap binding. And I'll have to say that I am not the only one that is super, super pumped on these things. We are already seeing pro riders, and even some of them are gonna have pro model colorways in these bindings. We're seeing Pat Fava, Joe Sexton, Victor De La Rue, Stale Sambeck, even big Mountain Jeremy Jones is going to be running these things when he's not split boarding. Beyond that, I see this rider list growing almost daily. And with all that being said, I am super excited to see where this FASE system goes in the future. I kind of liken the FASE system to the BOA system on boots. Obviously, when companies design a lace boot, they don't have to design a completely new boot just to put the BOA on it. They basically just take that exact same boot and design it with the BOA in mind. Likewise with this, if a company wants to incorporate this system into their binding, they can design any binding they want. They just have to add this to the design at the very end. And I'm gonna say it now, I really would not be that surprised if within 5 years, we see the FASE system on the majority of standard strap bindings in the market. The only one thing that I don't like about them is that they are killing my pants over the high back stees. But obviously that has absolutely nothing to do with the performance or the durability of the bindings. But I have to say that if you are still skeptical, just when you get a chance, check these things out for yourself. You will be pleasantly surprised. And I definitely think that we are looking at the future of two-strap bindings. So just remember, this is not a phase. This is the phase.